That's what concerns me. That's why I feel like
the money's there and nobody's using it.
that's why I'm concerned that I'm not sure what more we can do. These things have been before us. Let me just finish.
Yeah.
These issues have been put before this board on multiple occasions, which actually led to the ordinance, which was probably, I think, the most, broad, sweeping type ordinance there is. We've gotten all kinds of, great feedback from communities. I think this village has shown a dedication to the forests and to the, to this whole ecosystem. And we have $250,000 set aside for these projects. I don't mean to criticize RPC because I think they've done a brilliant job. Okay, I think they've done wonderful work. But if you guys can't get the general population of the village interested in this enough to actually utilize $250,000 that's sitting in the government coffers right now, how do you expect us to do it? You're a grassroots organization. You're the ones who ring the bells and get the people excited about this. We don't do that. We can't do that. Yet, you've been somewhat unsuccessful. That either tells me that the community, well, unsuccessful to the extent that there's money here that's not being utilized. It either tells me that the community is apathetic when it comes to this issue and maybe needs to be further educated. And again, I would just suggest that that's another job that you may have, not necessarily the village, because we've already gone pretty far beyond normal to try and get this message out. So I'm just concerned that I have no problem addressing this and looking into it, and go ahead, spend your time being that you're the chair of that committee. And I'm just concerned that we may find ourselves in the same position a year from now or 2 years from now.
Mike, I'd like to respond to a couple things that you said. Joan Becker again. First of all, the Board of Trustees has a certain amount of credibility and authority that, as wonderful as we are and as grassroots and intertwined with the community as we are, we will never have. You are the officials of this village. That being said, it is your job. It is your job to take a leadership role. No, you walk around with an air of authority, with the mantle of authority, and it's not just. It's not just regulatory.
There's no crown on his head.
Well, I'm referring to all of you. I see crowns on all of your heads. And you do have the bully pulpit. You have the village voice, and you have you just.
We have allowed you to run everything you wanted in that village voice. It's never been ended.
No, I don't want to get into nitpicky arguments. That's not the point. The point is we are on the same side. And wait, can I just finish? I don't think we have failed. The feedback that we get, as far as buckthorn removal programs is that it is too difficult. If we have heard it once,
I've done it.
Mike, I'm not arguing the
check.
fact. I am telling you the feedback we get. If you don't want to hear it, you don't want to hear it. But that's what we're told, that people look at the paperwork and find it cumbersome.
Feedback. That's a cop-out. It's a cop-out, Joe, because I've done it.
Well,
you've probably done it.
I've done it.
It's a simple sheet of paper. You fill it out. You get a check for $1,000. It's not too difficult.
Yeah. No, here's one thing that I would like to do.
Can I make one last point, Sherry?
Sure, go ahead.
You go run away with it. I think that the other thing that the ability of the village is to see comprehensively from their arborist, from their engineer, from Russ's perspective, and from all that comes before the board that we, as the RPC, never hear about. And from that perspective, you are particularly able, with Rich's help, of course, to craft a comprehensive environmental program that befits the ordinances that are already in place, the comprehensive plan and the woodland protection ordinance, so that they are consistent. We don't have that specific knowledge. We are a group of resident volunteers. We do not possess all the expertise in the world on woodlands. We are learning right along with you. We are a bunch of humble assistants, and that's what we want to do. You're the leaders, we're the assistants. We're the go-between between you and the residents. We try to make ourselves as accessible as possible, but we are not the repository of all woodland knowledge. We don't have it. We need to go out and get it. And it's up to you to authorize our getting it, and we will help in any way we can.
As we have in funding your studies.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, I'm going to talk with Russ, with Chuck, and I want to talk about increasing the limits and reducing the paperwork or
Bill,
obstacles.
can I make a suggestion?
Let me finish. For garlic mustard and buckthorn, so then we'll pick that up at the next meeting.
Can I please make the suggestion that I've been trying to make?
Sure.
Which is that I think that along with assisting residents fund-wise in planting trees, I think that there should be some allowance for restoration of understory plants as well, using 50/50 village money. I think that, yeah.
Russ?
I was just going to, if you would like me to say something.
Please.
Go right ahead, Darrell.
Okay, I wanted to point out Rich's use of the word lightning rod. That would be me. One of the things that I think we want to keep in mind here is and I was happy to hear that the number one recommendation was education, because that's been my feeling all along. The legislative mechanisms are in place. It's an educational issue in my mind. We're dealing with a totally fragmented ownership of a plant community. And what I was going through in my mind as listening to this is, it would seem to me we've got two working committees, if you will, with Cheryl and Rich. What I was going to suggest, and if you think this is going the wrong direction, that's fine. I think what's important before we go out and solicit proposals and all this, is to clearly define what the goals are, what we're trying to accomplish, all those kinds of things. It would seem to me that, and there's really too many details to get into here, but there's issues and things to talk about in terms of tweaking the buckthorn program and how we pay the funds and all those other sorts of things. To me, the biggest issue with that is that whole program was intended to be like seed money to encourage people to start the process. They have to continue. It's not like we're going to be their gardener every year. So I think there's issues like that. There's opportunities we could discuss about people that might want to dedicate conservation easements. So there's a whole range of things when we're talking about a comprehensive woodland plan that I think we should put some effort into first in terms of a task force, pick whatever word you want, to get and talk about some of these issues in detail and come back to the board with that sort of a concept, so then the board could decide that's a reasonable thing to do or however that goes, because there's a lot of information here that everybody's somewhat familiar with, and some more than others. And I just think that woodland management is not a foreign concept to me. My degree is in classical forestry training, and it's no different than the way we talk today. They're just different terms. And there are differences in communities and all these different issues. So I think we've got really some good programs in place. I think they've been successful to the point of where we're at, but I think that the point was well taken by Trustee Haber there, that we've been promoting this for a long time, and I don't think it's the paperwork that scares people. The paperwork's not difficult. What I think is important is that the encouragement of people to continue the process, and we do have include woodland plants. In Mike's case, he hired Possibility Place, I think it was, did a plan. He took out his buckthorn and first Will Street, and they had all kinds of plants, woodland plants. So it isn't just trees. So that process is in place. My concern about that's always been getting people to take more of an active interest in it, because there's diverse issues between the ownerships of this woodland. They all have different things. But I think the idea of having a well thought out program, and then whatever the resources are we need to accomplish that, then that's the next step. But I think that would be really my suggestion, is to take basically those two committees as the key ones, and have some discussions and work through. And I know the guys in AES, I know the guys, if you want to get some of those guys in, that's fine. So I think there's a uniform program we can present to the board that's clearly understandable, clearly defined, goals clearly spelled out.